Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today's card started with the British Racing Green cardstock cut in half and then scored at 4 1/4 to make a A2 size card. After I folded and scored it, I noticed I had some fuzzies on the one end, and what I like to use is a metal fingernail file to get those off, especially when I need to change my blade. So I took the All the Men in My Life stamp set and some silver cardstock from my scrap bin, and I put all the words in different places on my acrylic block and then used the clear water marking and powder techniques ink pad and stamped it all over my cardstock after treating it with a anti-static powder tool. Then I covered it with some silver embossing fold powder from my stash, and I'm going to heat set that. Some of the words didn't ink completely on the edge, but that's okay because I'm going to cut this down. Once it was heat set, I knew I needed to fill in with the spaces that I needed to. So I'm going to put it in my MISTI, which you'll see here in just a moment. And going to just put the different words down in other places so that they fill in all the gaps. I chose all of the words: husband, father, pop, daddy, brother, grandfather, grandpa, son, nephew, and I just filled them all in upside down, sideways, horizontal, vertical, just so they kind of fit on my cardstock, and made kind of my own pattern paper. And then I rearranged them to make sure they were straight on my MISTI lid. And then once I liked the placement, I used some more anti-static powder tool and I stamped them down. And I did that a couple of times just to make sure. I like to just use my fingertips when I'm using sentiments. Then I covered the rest of those with silver embossing powder, and I heat set that until it was smooth and melted. And if I have any stray embossing powder, I just use a paintbrush to kind of wipe those away. Once I clean up my area and my piece of paper is kind of cool, I wipe off any stray powder, and then I'm going to cut this down to just smaller than 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, so it fits as a background on my card panel. Once again, I need my blade to be replaced, so I used my file to get away any of the extra, and there you see it fits perfectly on the back. Attaching it to my card base with some liquid glue and acrylic block and my MISTI to hold it down and dry, while I went and grabbed some alphabet dies from my stash. I really wanted the words to be more of a focal point, so I grabbed this smaller die set, and then I decided I liked a bigger one better, so I'm going to replace it and use a different one. So that one's better. So I used some more of the British Racing Green cardstock and cut out 2 D's and an A using my Sidekick. Don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe if you like to see more of my videos. I store my extra tape on top of my die cut machine. And then once I have those letters cut out and arranged, I wanted to use the World's Best to put across the top. So I did some stamp surgery and cut them apart because I wanted them to go long. And of course, I forgot to take my stamps out of my MISTI, so I'm going to quickly do that. And I just set them on my glass mat. I really like to do that because it's easier just to clean them all at once. And I quickly lined up the World's Best so it was straight. And anti-static bag, stamp it with clear embossing ink, and then cover it with the silver embossing powder and heat set that. Once that's fully heat set and it's cooled off, take my paper trimmer and trim it down. And it was a lot bigger than I thought it would be with the words, so I decided to cut it down a little bit more with my, after I file it, of course, again, with my scissors. and I realized how, that's, I said it was going to be too big for my words. Then I decided I better put my dad down first. So I used my ruler that I bought to go with my glass media mat. And I started putting the glue down on the D and then realized the A is the center, so I should start with that. So I quickly dotted that and put down the dad. And after it was dry, I used the hooks from my rainbow tweezers to kind of get any overhang. Here's where I realized that I didn't want to cover up that dad. It was just a little big, so I decided to scrap that idea, and instead I put on the inside of the card, I used the dads hold our hands for a little while and hold our hearts forever, and I heat embossed that in the same silver ink. And because it was a new stamp, I had to stamp it a couple of times. Here I also used the tip of the tweezers to kind of put a couple of stray embossing powder pieces away. I found that that helps too, because it's super pointy. I reinforced the back of the card because it had a little bit of warpage, and I put that down. Here's a finished version of my card. I hope you really like it. Just a different way to use your stamp sets that you can get in your kit box. And I hope you have a great day. Thank you for stopping by.